Hey everyone, Alan here. Thanks for tuning in to the PTNI's Daily Show. Before we get started, we're just going to take a moment and talk about our show sponsor, Jane. Jane is an all-in-one practice management software with helpful features like online booking, administrative scheduling, integrated payment processing, and charting. But there's more to Jane than you might think. The team at Jane cares a lot about problems you face as a practitioner. One of these problems is the prevalence of no-shows and late cancellations in your practice. They've made it very easy with Jane for you with a few simple tools built right into Jane to help with this issue. This includes the ability to implement an online booking payment policy, send out unlimited free text and email reminders to patients, and enable waitlist management features to help fill last-minute gaps when those cancellations or reschedules show up. Find out more about Jane and see Jane in action at jane.app/physicaltherapy. When you're ready to sign up, you can mention the code ICEPT1MO for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. Enjoy today's show.
Good morning, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here on the PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is April Dominic, and I am a teaching assistant for the CMFA Pregnancy and Postpartum Division. Today, we will discuss different ways that a partner can support the pregnant individual using the 5 love languages as a framework. First, let me review 2 course offerings we have for you through our division. We have our 2-day live course, which Alexis and I just had a blast wrapping up in Chicago this past weekend. What a fun crew out there. This course covers the internal pelvic exam, including a standing assessment, and then day 2, we're all in the CrossFit gym coaching and assisting lifts, and return to impact and gymnastics, talking about modifications and interventions. Christina Previtt will be leading the next course with Rachel Moore out in the Woodlands, Texas. This is going to be February 18th and 19th. And then our next 8-week online cohort begins March 6th. This course is jam-packed with the latest research on physiologic changes that female athletes undergo, along with assessment and interventions for common gymnastics and lifting movements from conception all the way up to the 4th trimester. So for today's topic, we'll highlight some literature on the partner's role in pregnancy. Then we'll discuss some major physiologic changes that happen to a pregnant person. And then we'll use the 5 love languages model, and I'll offer specific examples for supporting a pregnant person. Pregnancy can be both exciting and very transformative for the person carrying the child as well as for their partners. It's also a time of unknown, right? During which having someone to lean on in the way of support can be extremely comforting. That being said, I do want to recognize that not everyone is fortunate enough to have a partner beside them. For those that do have partners or access to them, remember they can come in all varieties. We can talk about a partner as being a spouse or a family member or a friend. So I'll direct today's conversation using a romantic partner for the most part, and you'll see why. So in the literature, the area is growing in this space. Currently, the space has largely been based off of studying paternal support or father figures. A 2021 systematic review from Ghali and colleagues looked at the most common indicators studied to measure male support. What they found was that antenatal care attendance was the most used indicator in these studies, meaning about 40% of 300 studies looked at that as an indicator for partner support. The other indicators that were closely behind that were financial support and then the presence of a partner during childbirth. So now that we've got our common indicators of what was being studied in the research, now we want to answer the question, what does research suggest about partner involvement and what it actually affects? So several studies indicate that if the pregnant person has a greater romantic partner support during pregnancy, This can be associated with lower levels of perinatal depression and anxiety, which what we know about postpartum depression in the pregnancy space, we know that about 10 to 20% of pregnant individuals can be affected by that. So how cool is it, right? That having a positive effect through partner support during pregnancy can possibly decrease this. Perhaps the biggest studied factors have been on partner roles and the effects on maternal and fetal outcomes. Numerous studies have associated high partner involvement during pregnancy with lower negative maternal health behaviors, and from the fetal side of things, lower risk of preterm birth, lower birth weight, and diminished fetal growth restriction. So overall, it's becoming extremely evident that support during pregnancy, at least in the literature right now, we have it mostly being studied from the father side of things, can be influential on maternal and fetal health. I'd love to see more research on someone stepping in as a non-partner or non-paternal partner role, but we don't quite have a ton of that right now. So pregnancy affects all systems of the body. From a cardiovascular standpoint, all the vital signs are just bumping up, right? We've got to support the increase in blood flow to the pregnant person, to the fetus. So an example would be including cardiac output that increases about 30 to 50% early on in pregnancy. That's huge. So this is also going to affect our pulmonary system, right? The person may be a little bit more out of breath or a lot more fatigued in their day-to-day activities. From the GI system standpoint, it takes longer to digest food, which unfortunately comes alongside with that could be some nausea, right? In the reproductive system, we're looking at increases in cervical fluid or cervical mucus. The capacity of the uterus, y'all, this is insane. It can grow exponentially. At minimum, it can grow 500 times its size. Wow, that's a lot, right? For our bread and butter musculoskeletal changes, these can be anything from increases in the individual's body mass or their actual body shape is changing, right? Including increased or breast size or muscle lengthening, coupled with a lot of joint changes, especially in the pelvic region. So these shifts will have to increase the demand on the body, right? And that can be noticeable as the pregnant person is lifting a toddler or doing some rig work at the gym or running at Orange Theory, right? So partner support for the pregnant person as they experience all of these upcoming changes could help reduce anxiety, right? And it could also help to establish a partnership for the duration of gestation. So I'll be using the framework from author Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages. Some of y'all may be familiar with it. It describes the way in which we give and receive love. In this case, I'll be relating it to how a pregnant person could receive support from their partner. The 5 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. So for these examples, I'll refer to the hypothetical pregnant person with she, her, hers pronouns. And then oftentimes I might say you, and I meaning you as the partner. So first and foremost, I think it's important to figure out what it is that the pregnant person prefers to receive, right? Step 1. And then we'll start with words of affirmation. So for words of affirmation, we can cover a lot here, but I'll just focus on 2 things. Number 1 is an important conversation about body image, right? So for body image, there are probably a lot of internal conversations going on in the pregnant person's body about, what the heck is going on with all of these body changes. This looks different. This wasn't there. I can't move this as well, right? So what we want to do as partners is focus on promoting her well-being. She can be experiencing these unpleasant changes. Give gentle reminders that, hey, these changes are normal, but so is the capacity of housing a child, right? You as a partner are there to hold space because she may be struggling with other things like nausea, the weight gain, maybe looking different in the mirror, right? When she's got a bikini on or when she's naked. So highlight those positive things and celebrate her openly. But words of affirmation can also mean giving permission to her to just be or feel whatever she's feeling emotionally in the moment. Remind her that there are a squad of therapists, of friends, family members that are all there supporting her. And if you don't have that squad, help her build one. And then in terms of acts of service, an easy example, do something to ease her daily grind, whether that's getting that fresh cup of coffee all made for her, lighten her load, right? We talked about earlier that fatigue is a big factor during all parts of pregnancy, especially common in the first trimester. This can be physical fatigue, but also mental fatigue. So maybe the partner takes over greater household duties, right? Or increasing responsibility of childcare if there are other kids in the picture. Or how about a simple taking care of meal prep? We all know how long and how much time meal prep can be. You got to come up with the grocery list, come up with the recipes, get the groceries, come back, do the actual meal prep and clean up, right? So that's a wonderful way to help support a partner with an act of service. And then the number one act of service that I received from a poll that I did, and that is echoed in literature, is attending medical appointments. Y'all, this can be huge because it shows that you as the partner is actively wanting to learn about all these changes and about the updates of her body, whether it's at the doula or meeting with the OB for an ultrasound appointment or with the physical therapist, right? After all, 2 ears are always better than one, in my opinion. So gifts would be the next love language. They don't have to be extravagant. Pick up a beverage, a favorite snack, right? Frame a picture, or frame a memory in a picture, throw it up on the wall. It's not only going to fill her emotional tank, but it'll probably light her up every time she passes by it. Or buy that home decor that she's been eyeing. The next love language, number 4, is quality time. So sometimes hobbies or activities such as impact sports may not be on the table anymore later in pregnancy. So a partner can join the pregnant individual at their favorite exercise class, right? Or maybe now's a good time for both of you to start a new exercise or new activity together, like going to an escape room. Or something free, like a walk to a park or a picnic or board game stuff. I have a friend who's currently pregnant right now, and her husband are doing this amazing thing. They decided to do something physically and or mentally hard one time a week to prepare for the upcoming hard thing that the pregnant person, will have to do, as in labor and delivery. How amazing is that? What a bond they're creating, right? By kind of sharing that partnership. And then the last love language that we'll talk about today is physical touch. If a partner is in a romantic relationship, intimacy and or intercourse may be challenging at times due to changes in libido, sore breasts, or discomfort in old favorite positions. So it can also be a good time to dust off some sex toys or try different positions, or join her in some down regulation as she preps with diaphragmatic breathing or whatever she needs to enjoy intimacy. Massages, right? Nothing says I love you more or I support you more than a little massage of the shoulders or whatever else is aching her. And then also never underestimate the power of small things like a hand hug. I do give hand hugs. A handhold or hugs from a family member or close friend. So that wraps up the examples of partner support, of which there are thousands. I hope you all drop some in your comments here. So remember, the partners have the potential to play a big role in the way of supporting the pregnant mother, as well as having positive effects on postpartum maternal and fetal health. We discussed words of affirmation that may build up body image positively, or just holding space for emotions that are tough. Through acts of service, we can support the pregnant person with a willingness to learn about the pregnancy process and show up for the doctor's visits. I hope this gives you some ideas as a partner of any kind of how to support the pregnant pal. And remember, as healthcare providers, don't forget to ask your clients about whether or not they have support and then cater to that. If they have support, welcome the partner in, right? If they don't have support, maybe you can help them with building that as a resource framework. So, hope y'all enjoyed that. Stay tuned for the next in the series as we will dive into part 2, which is the partner's role in the labor and delivery room. Take care, y'all.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.